Glass half empty guy says they have been a bad football team of late. Ben Roethlisberger called a players-only meeting for the offense, trying to get everyone on the same page, maybe turn the page after the 3-game losing streak. Roethlisberger not shying away from the criticism he himself has taken.
There's a lot of people out there saying that you're done, it's over for you right now. I know you stay away from that type of social media stuff. Is that motivating to you when that stuff comes out and they talk about you in that regards?
I don't blame them. When you play like poo, you should get talked about like that. And so, I need to play better. So if I'm not giving them a reason to talk good, then I'm giving them a reason to talk bad. So that's all on me. I need to play better.
We apologize for that kind of language. I mean, that was off the charts. We got our NFL analyst, Marcus Spears, joining us. He would never say a word like that. All right, Marcus, so it's late December. Seems like you are who you are at this point. The Steelers' O-line, bad run block, bad pass block. Are the Steelers a fixable team at this point?
No, Dave, and it hurts me to say it, but no, like we're in week 16 and we see this team and their deficiencies and lack of offensive explosiveness catching up with them. My colleague Mina Kimes, who's on NFL Live with me, told us early in the season, like week 3 or 4, that this offense wasn't going to be sustainable as the season went along. And now you're starting to see it, like the Cincinnati Bengals defense. Their defensive secondary got in the wide receivers from Pittsburgh, made it difficult for Ben to throw that ball as fast as he's been throwing it. And now when you don't have an establishment of a run game, there's nothing to buffer it. There's nothing to get away from, that calling card, that standard, that foundation that the Steelers have always had. Quite frankly, they don't have it. And that is physical at the line of scrimmage, to either be able to run it or to stop people from running the football. I know there's injuries on the defensive side, but offensively for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I do not see a fix. This is the way they won 11 games, and now that they're getting into the back half of their season and they're starting to see better defenses, teams are ramping it up for the playoffs, and teams have a beat on you for what you do offensively. They can't seem to find a way out, and that's problematic.
Yeah, I mean, the record looks nice, but, I mean, what have you done for me lately? Steelers have been held under 20 points in 4 straight games.
Dave.
What?
Hey, man, don't just gloss over this jacket. I put this jacket on today for the people. Don't just gloss over it.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the jacket?
Christmas Eve.
All right. Velvet?
It's velvet. And it's a festive color. This is my Jay Hilburn folks coming through, my suit people. And I just wanted to put it on here to make sure it didn't get glossed over on these holidays, man.
I buried the lead again, Marcus. I apologize. I apologize for Ben Roethlisberger's language and for not mentioning your jacket there. Merry Christmas to you and yours.
My jacket is not poo. Jacket is not poo.
No, it's not.
No.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Imagine when me and him do a split screen later on in the show. Hello, Merry Christmas. Coming up, the NBA's fresh faces make their first impressions. We're going to run down the rookies making up the biggest impact in their first game. And speaking of rookies, last year's Rookie of the Year going off. Ja Morant with his big night. It's coming up on SportsCenter in our half-hour headlines. And the Vikings have given the Saints recent trouble when it comes to the playoffs. This year, though, it is the Saints who control their own destiny. New Orleans looks to snap a 2-game losing streak. And with a win or a Bucs loss, that would clinch their 4th straight NFC South title. Now, Drew Brees, he returned from injury last week and had a kind of tough performance. So he knows it's time to get back on track.
We understand that we've sealed a playoff spot, but the most important factor right now is for us to win and win the division, right? And then continue to kind of build on and ascend going into the playoffs. And listen, I missed the last 4 weeks. I'm trying to kind of get back into it again and get the feel and the rhythm and all that. So at the end of the day, we're only going to get better week to week from now until the end of the season and then going into the playoffs. And so is that an emphasis? Yes, absolutely.
Marcus Spears joining us again. So the Saints, they're coming off 2 straight losses. They're coming off Drew Brees struggling in that game. So what do they need to do to get back in that win column?
Yeah, Ash, obviously get Drew Brees back to form before he left. But I think Alvin Kamara needs to have his stamp put on these games. And he's been playing good, but we were talking about Alvin Kamara in the MVP conversation earlier this year. So when you look at this offense without Michael Thomas, he was the catalyst. He was the guy that would get the checkdowns. He was the guy in the screen game. He was the guy they would line up outside at wide receiver to create one-on-ones. And I think the Saints need to get back to that. Obviously, there are other things that need to take place, like Drew getting his feet back wet, getting healthy, figuring out the rhythm and the routine of this offense. You lose that. 4 weeks is a long time for a starting quarterback to be out. And then they play the Chiefs when he gets back. They only lose by 3. So there are things to build off. But when you look at what this team needs to do, Drew said it best. We need to have momentum going into the playoffs. And in order to do so, that's getting your stars the ball often and early. And that's Alvin Kamara for me.
Now, this is SportsCenter, but it's also like a Christmas special because look at us. The
Look at
green,
you.
the
Look
red.
at you. Yeah.
Look at us. Mr. and Mrs. Claus here on SportsCenter
Swagging out today. We are swagging out today, Ash Boo. I love it.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. Thank you so much, my friend.
All right.
I didn't get the memo. I mean, nothing. They didn't tell me anything.
Next time.
Anyway, obviously this year gave us a little more time on our hands than we really wanted. Bunkered in our homes, cabin fever, nothing to do, and all day to do it. It's said that idle hands do the devil's work. Well, devilishly fun. At the confluence of 2020, sports and social media, you get a treasure trove of great memes. We asked Mina Kimes, Pablo Torre,